If you are a Taurus, one of the first things people tell you is how annoyingly stubborn you are, which is true, but it's exactly this energy that makes a Taurus also very reliable, very patient and very loyal, which is something I have never heard anyone complain about. So it's kind of funny how we get called out for some of our negative traits, which are the cause for some of our best traits. Just like with everything, anything in excess is toxic, including Taurus stubbornness. As the first earth sign of the zodiac, Taurus is the most grounded, so it takes a lot to get them agitated, but once you do, you better take a run for it. Hello and welcome back. If you're new to the channel, my name is Jada. In this series, we're diving into the different signs of the zodiacs as a tool for self-discovery. As I mentioned in the introduction video, we are not just one zodiac sign, but we have all 12 zodiac signs inside of us. So it's not about identifying which sign am I, but rather how does each sign show up in my life. So if you haven't watched the introduction video, I suggest you do. There are actually two videos this time. The first one is a general one, giving you a better idea what this series is about and the fact that we have all 12 zodiac signs inside of us. And the second one explains a little more how a zodiac sign can be in the same element, for example, but still be different. So we are exploring the elements, the modalities and the dualities, which I think will be especially helpful if you are new to astrology and not familiar with the terminology yet. So let's have a look at Taurus. Taurus, as mentioned, is an earth sign. It's a fixed modality and it's in a negative polarity, which gives it all its grounding power. So it's one of the most steadfast signs of the zodiac, if not the most steadfast sign of the zodiac. As mentioned, Taurus is the first earth sign of the zodiac, which also makes it the most physical one. While Aries, with its fire energy, it's all about going out into the world and exploring it. Taurus is really about indulging and experiencing the world with the five senses, especially touch and taste, since those are the most physical senses as well. So because Taurus is such a physical sign that really experiences the world through the senses, it really loves to enjoy and indulge, which makes it a very sensual sign and loves to savor the experience, regardless if that is visiting an art gallery or trying out some new food. It really takes that time to experience it with all five senses. For example, if you are in an art gallery and you have that Taurus energy inside of you, it's like, okay, what does it look like? What does it feel like to be in that room? What does the air smell like? It's like it notices everything, and according to what it notices and whether it likes what it notices, it's like, okay, this is either a good experience and I want to savor it, or they're like, okay, no, that's too low quality for me, I'm like out of here. As I mentioned in the beginning, Taurus is a very stubborn sign, and it really comes from the fact that it has all those three characteristics in a more passive energy. So it's a fixed sign, it's an earth sign, and it's a negative sign. And it's really that combination that gives it such a stoic personality. Like Taurus are not easily ruffled by the events of the world because they see it as part of the world, because it's the most physical one. They're also the one that the most accept that things happen, like the cycle or nature of life. It's like, okay, like what am I supposed to do about that? So they really have this energy of it is what it is, what's the point in getting upset about it? However, there also lies one of Taurus' paradox, because Taurus is a fixed sign, which means it doesn't like change. And there lies the difference between the two scenarios. Like if something happens outside of them, they're like, okay, whatever. But if something happens that affects their plan and their routine, they're like super upset and dig themselves into the ground, refusing to budge. In terms of symbolism, Taurus is represented by the bull, and it kind of emphasizes everything I just mentioned, their steadfast nature and their unwillingness to move. However, bulls have a bad reputation for losing their temper and going berserk, But if you actually observe them, you would notice that they are very docile, unless you piss them off. So if you think about a bullfight, you would notice that the bull actually gets provoked to the point where it sees red. But by nature, a bull is actually a very peaceful creature. There is a saying, something along the line, and I don't remember the exact phrasing, you didn't know that a Taurus could get mad until you've seen them mad. And it really highlights that energy. It takes a lot for them to lose their temper. But once they do, there's like no stopping them. So since Taurus is such a slow-moving energy, it only moves when it wants to move. Because of that, you cannot really force a Taurus to do something. So when it comes to decisions, they really need this feeling of, I have decided, I'm moving because I have decided that I wanted to move and not because someone else told me. And since it is an earth sign, it's also a very practical sign. Taurus is not known to be a teacher, but when it explains something, it has this very down-to-earth approach, which makes things very practical. So you get your step-by-step approach, and the things are very simple and easy, because Taurus doesn't like things to be complicated. In terms of phrases, Taurus is associated to the phrase I have. Even though Taurus on one side is a very simple sign, it doesn't need much to be happy. At the same time, it's very materialistic. It loves the good things of life. This could be possessions like jewelry and stuff like that, or good food. So it has this desire to hoard things. Especially things of high quality are very appealing to a Taurus. Another paradox or maybe misconception that one can have about Taurus is that it really enjoys a simple life. Taurus, by definition, doesn't need much. However, simple doesn't mean cheap. So Taurus really insists on high quality. And on top of that, Taurus is known to be very stingy when it comes to money. So if it has an option that is less expensive but provides the high quality, Taurus will always go for that option. So it doesn't really care about brands and stuff like that, but it really cares about quality. But at the same time, if something is really of high quality, they do not mind spending money on it. As mentioned in the beginning, since Taurus is a negative sign, it means it's more introverted. So it doesn't really like to socialize, it likes to do its own thing. It doesn't like when people interfere with them, and they don't like to interfere with others. As long as they are happy with their own life, they're just like, moving along and enjoying and indulging in their life, and they don't really care about anything else. Think of a person that might live a little more secluded. They have like their own little cottage. They even have their own garden that can provide their own food. And they have this beautiful view from where they live. They have all the peace in the world because nobody is bothering them. That's kind of a Taurus energy. They really like that simple life but are well taken care of. Because Taurus is also a lot concerned about survival on a physical level, since it's the first earth sign. So Aries, as the first fire sign, is all about exploring and conquering, and Taurus is all about sustainability and safety. So it takes the safest route to ensure that we are well taken care of. And as I mentioned with Aries, Aries has all this initiative energy to start things, where Taurus has this building energy. The fixed energy really allows it to stay with a project for a long time. So they really like that routine work, doing the same thing over and over again in the same way. So Taurus, due to its fixed nature, it doesn't adapt easily to change, and it takes a lot of time or a long time for them to make or come to a decision. And it's not indecisiveness that stops them, but rather their need for certainty and comfort, where they're like, do I really want to take that step? So they want to be certain if they want to go with that, because Taurus has this energy, if I decide on it, I'm gonna stick with it for the long term. So they want to make sure that it's the right decision. So it's not so much, oh, I'm not sure if this is what I want. It's rather they know what they want, but they want to make sure that the decision gives them what they want. If we think of it in terms of relationship, Taurus is not the energy that is like, okay, let's meet and see where things go. They're like, okay, I already got an idea if you are even worth my time, And if they decide to pursue things farther with you, they're like, okay, I'm doing this with the intention of spending the rest of my life with you. And it goes the other way around as well. If they're like, okay, we are done with this relationship, there is no like on and off with them. They're like, okay, we're done. There's no going back. And this very strong decisiveness comes in all areas of life. It can be with a job, it can be with food, like habits, when they have like very negative habits, even though they know it's not good for them, until they've made that decision to quit that habit, they won't do anything. But once they do, they quit it for good, because it's like, okay, I have decided. So all of this is what makes Taurus so reliable. So if you have a Taurus for a friend, you usually have them for life. And it's also what kind of backfires on them, because they can become lazy or overindulgent in things, and it takes a lot of time for them to change things. So to wrap it up, Taurus is known to be a sign that is very reliable, very grounded, very loyal, very stubborn, very sensual, and has a tendency to overindulge. I already mentioned it in the Aries video, and I'm gonna mention it in every single video because I really want you to get the point of this, and I don't want you to categorize those signs or those characteristics into negative or positive. For any negative traits has its benefits, as any positive traits has its challenges. For example, stubbornness can be the reason that we see things through to the end and stay loyal to who we are. On the other side, it can lead to missed opportunities because we resist change. So I want you to think of all the characteristics that I have mentioned and see the positive and negative traits in each characteristic. The reason that I'm going to mention this point over and over again is also to help you free yourself from prejudice that you might have towards yourself or others. As there is this tendency to demonize ourselves for our negative traits, even though they can be the reason for some of our best traits. So by becoming aware that any negative has its positive and any positive has its negatives, you really set yourself free. And because of that, I think you gain an opportunity to act different or react different in certain situations. So if you know that you are very stubborn, you start to notice where the stubbornness serves you and where it doesn't, and you can start to decide whether you want to use that stubbornness in those specific situations, or if you start to tap into other signs where you're like, okay, maybe this energy would be more helpful in this situation. In terms of personal example, I am a Taurus sun. So if you are familiar with astrology, you know that the sun represents our identity, the essence of who we are. If you're new to astrology, you know what it means now. And in terms of Taurus as my sun sign, one of the things that I get most called out for is my stubbornness, for better and worse. Especially with my mom, it has been a challenge because she's a very opposite energy than me. We are very much opposites, and it's also visible in our astrological charts. So she was kind of at wit's end with my stubbornness. She didn't know how to handle it, and she often called me up being like, why are you being so stubborn about this? And it came from a point of being a little helpless. She didn't know how to handle it, but it did come with the consequences that I felt bad about being stubborn. And it took a lot of time to realize that actually it's a great quality of mine. So with time, I realized, yeah, I am incredibly stubborn, and at times it doesn't really serve me. So I had to learn to realize, when does that stubbornness serve me, and when do I want to tap into it? And when do I want to move a little more in a different energy, for example, a more mutable energy, where they are very adaptable and flexible. So at the end of the day, in essence, I'm always going to be a Taurus, and I love being a Taurus. But I noticed that there are times that I can benefit from tapping into a different energy that I have inside of me. And this is why I keep telling you that we have all 12 zodiac signs inside of us in different intensities. And by becoming aware of it, you can start to tap into those energies without losing your sense of self, and get the most out of any situation, because you become more versatile. You could have a bigger toolbox to choose from in how to react in any situation. So now it's time for you to reflect. You might not be a Taurus sun, but somewhere in your life the Taurus energy does show up in your relationship, in work, in your hobbies. Where in your life do you act like a Taurus? Where are you stubborn like a Taurus? Where are you calm or resilient like a Taurus? Where do you love to indulge? Where is high quality very important to you? So let me know in the comments down below whether you are a Taurus sun like myself and you know exactly what I'm talking about. Also make sure to check out the other zodiac sign videos. The playlist is gonna be in the description box down below. Otherwise, this is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching and I see you in the next one.